we bought this mystery box. Super cool. I've never seen this. Empty tins. I don't know that these have a lot of value, but these are things that you can't buy. Hey everybody, welcome back to the Mental Watches YouTube channel. If you recall a few weeks ago, if you watched Luxury Bazaar Roman Sharf's video of the Miami Beach Antique Show, you guys got to see what we just bought, what Roman and I just bought.
We bought out a store that used to be a Rolex dealer, and there was a box, I kid you not, probably the size of a refrigerator. I called Adam over and said, we're buying this box for 30 grand.
We should make out like a champ.
I don't know. You know, it's really unknown, but there's money there.
Roman says he thought the value of it was worth around $300,000. I don't know if it is, I don't know if it isn't. We're gonna go through it today. I think we're gonna fall a little short, but let's take a look. We got some really interesting stuff and rare trinkets. We were inundated with messages asking us to show what was in the box, unpack it all. So we're gonna go through it today, and trust me, I'm as excited as all of you are. So we're gonna start over on the right. The first thing we got, or we noticed really, because they were the biggest, were these Rolex pictures. Two Rolex wall portraits, pictures if you will. One with a Submariner and a Datejust, another with men's and ladies Datejust or ladies Prez. We also got a silhouette. This is super cool, and I can't wait to have it framed, and this is not going to be for sale because it's coming. It's staying in the office. A two-tone bluesy Rolex Submariner. Really cool stuff. Like, I guess it's silk screen. I'm not even sure what they call these. So we're going to talk about the values as we go through these things, and just to clarify, these are what I believe roughly the values of all this stuff are. I could be wrong, I could be right. I hope I'm right, but we're just gonna have to, we took a gamble and let's see if it paid off. So I would say each of these are probably worth about 500 bucks each, maybe a little bit more. The silk screen is probably worth around 1,000. Again, it's stuff that you can't really buy. It was only delivered to the ADs to use in their shops here. And here's another smaller one, maybe worth a few hundred bucks, $300, $400, with a gold Submariner on it. Also very cool. It seems like it's a stand display that you'd put up. All this stuff eventually will be likely for sale. I might even know a specific watch retailer that might be interested in them. Wink, wink. I knew you would. Moving right along, we have boxes, okay? Easiest stuff to unpack. We have a Rolex Cellini box. I would say the value is around $300 to $400. We have a Rolex Ladies box for a reference 67199, I guess. Anyways, it has a gold sticker, which means it was a gold dial. So this would probably be worth around $200 for somebody who needs a ladies box. This is a Rolex service box, so not really worth that much, maybe 50 to 100 bucks. These boxes, however, are for 90s Sapphire sports models, can be used for them. They don't have any stickers, so we're not sure which references these were originally sold with, but these are in high demand for people who buy these 90s Sapphire watches and want to make their watches a little bit more complete and add the original box. So I would say the value of these is around $300 to $400 each. Here's another ladies Rolex box, probably again another $200. These two boxes are actually really great boxes. And by the way, all of these boxes came with some extra booklets and brochures, which also add value as well. Let's open up one of these. This is a late 80s, 90s sports box, or sports model box, and sometimes even 70s too. So you could use these for a lot of different Rolex sports models. They're in very high demand, especially in good condition, because they're pretty difficult to track down. A lot of the times they're very broken. So I would say these are worth about $400 to $500 each. Let's put this back. This is a cool box. This could go to either a gold GMT sub Daytona from the era, or also a President model. They use these innate, oh, look at the dust. These like ornate kind of boxes for their more higher dollar and precious metal watches. This one, same thing. It would probably go towards a day date or a ladies' day date as well. So yeah, so we have some good money in boxes. I would say the value of these two are around $400 to $500 each as well. Moving right along, we have a lot to unpack. Advertising and materials and brochures that this AD used. So for example, the World of Rolex, based on the watches that are in here, it's probably from the 90s. Here, 1987. Really cool stuff that you can't really find. You have to hunt on eBay and the forums to find these kind of things. These were just probably brochures that they gave out at the store to their clients, kind of informational packets. I don't really know what these are worth. Probably around $100 each, and we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 of them. Same cup. Ooh. America's Cup 1977 Rolex official handbook from 1977. Wow. I've never even seen this. So this is for yachting. We have 2 of these. I don't know what these are worth, but I would say probably, well, they were $1.75 back in 1977. I would say they're worth $300 to $400 now. On the back, we have a red Submariner. So yeah, maybe $300 to $500 each, and we have 2 of them. Another interesting Of Time and Men Rolex brochure from 1985. Again, another, $200 kind of item, something that you just don't find going through. In the same vein as the boxes, we have a lot of booklets that were sold with the watches when new, and these are really useful because when you bought a watch from Rolex, like as you do now, you got these booklets with the watches. As these were discarded over the years, people collect these and try to make their watches. Say you buy a watch from a guy like me that only has the watch, papers, and box, but you want to make it as complete as possible as from the time you bought it, as if you bought it in the 80s or 90s, you would buy this booklet to make your watch more complete. I know these sell for around $200 each. This is a Submariner one. We have a bunch of them in here, like 6 or 7 of them. We have the same for the Explorer, and there's even more Explorers, so around 10 to 12 in here. There's also a bunch of the Care of Your Rolex service booklets. Rolex watch servicing around the world, a 10-step 10-step guide. Wow, interesting. I would say these are probably worth $100 each kind of thing, and we have, it looks to be about 20 of them or so. Yeah, more service booklets. Oh, this is interesting. Rolex talking points. This was probably given to the employees of the store in order to explain what was going on with the watches as they were talking to their clients. This is only for in-house use. Really cool. I don't know what this is worth. Let's just say they're $50 to $100 each, and we have like 4 or 5 of them. These booklets are a little bit older, in the same vein as the Submariner and Explorer booklets. They just simply were extra booklets that came with the watches. This is actually an earlier Submariner booklet. This one's probably worth $300 as opposed to $200. Extra stuff that was sold with the watches back in the day when you bought them new. So probably in these 3 booklets alone, an extra $600 to $700. This, like I showed you earlier, was just a plaque that Fred H. Straub probably kept on his desk. This is going to go on my desk now, even though my name is Adam, not Fred. So moving right along, we have more recent Oyster Perpetual booklets that were sold with watches. Again, values probably around $50 to $100 kind of thing, since they're more recent and they're readily available. You could even see, as we scroll through them, some more recent models in here. A nice little wallet. This is really cool. So Rolex started producing their own magazine. This is issue number 1, which is obviously the most sought after one. You can see the Platinum Daytona on the cover. These are worth around $200 each on the open market now, the last time I checked. And we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And I think we have some more lying around. There's probably about like 15 of them. This is Watch Time Magazine Submariner Report. I don't know that this has any value, but it's very cool to see from 10 years ago. Literally. Same with this Stiletto pack. Oh, this is heavy. Rolex Special. I think it's just an independent magazine. I'm not sure that this was made by Rolex. Oof. All right. What do we have here? Another Rolex booklet. seems to be more recent. Something cool and probably worth, you know, a couple $100 or something like that. Yeah, you can see more recent models in here. From Daytona to the Cosmograph Daytona, a passion for speed. Looks to be a little bit more recent. These are probably things that they gave out to their customers, but I've actually never seen this, and it's specifically oriented for racing. Looks like it has Zenith Daytona models in here and 116. Oh, it even has vintage. So it goes through everything, and it goes through history. It was produced in 2013, so I would say these are probably worth around $200 to $300 each, and we have 3 of them. We have more talking points, informational booklets. Somebody wrote GMT picture missing page 30. But again, these were given to employees as talking points for their customers when they were selling the watches, so that the employees would know how to describe the watch and what to say to the customers. We have another 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 of them, and I would say they're probably worth around $200 each. So cool stuff to have. Ooh, these are the Mac Daddy. In the same vein that we talked about earlier of the Explorer and Submariner booklets that were sold with the watches, we have them for the Daytona. These are probably worth the most compared to the Submariner Explorer, just because the Daytona is the Daytona. And these are probably worth $300 to $400 each, and we have about 10 of them. These are very useful to have. I probably won't even sell most of these. I'll probably keep them to use with watches as I get watches that have papers but no extra booklets. It looks like here we have some more old advertising materials. I don't know that there's much value in here, but it's very cool to be able to read these things and go back in time and see what the mindset of the company was back then, when you used to be able to actually go into an AD and buy a watch. So, moving right along, we have some bezel protectors, not much value here. And we also have a ton of these, the World of Rolex, which look like in-house informational packets that this jeweler, Fred H. Straub, gave to their clients. More from Fred H. Straub that these are the envelopes that he would mail these out to. So yeah, obviously he would mail these out to his clients, and you'd get this in the mail from them to kind of get an idea of what was coming up from Rolex as their new releases were being launched. All right, well, let's jump into this for a second since it's sitting right here. There was a fair bit amount of parts that were in the box. I know this because it was the first thing that I opened before I made an educated guess as to what Roman and I were going to pay for the overall box. So when I first opened it, the first thing I saw was, I guess this isn't it. Here, it was right here, and which gave me the confidence to make an offer on the lot without having inspected all of this. Was, where is it? Here it is. This dial, bezel, and handset. So this is a new old stock dial, bezel, and handset for a reference 1680 Submariner. So a vintage Submariner. It looks like it has beautiful, beautiful original patina. The value right off the bat is around $3,500 for the dial, $2,500 for the bezel, and another $500 for the hand. So you have around a $6,000 spread right here just from this one set of dial, bezel, and hands. As I sifted through the rest, I saw some other useful parts, a two-tone Submariner bezel, around $100. There are a few Day-Date and Datejust dials in here, which have a value of anywhere from $200 to $300 each. Some in good condition, some in okay condition. There were some custom-made dials as well, which I found to be interesting. Here is one that was a refinished dial that was for the National Label Company. So obviously, Fred H. Straub Inc. would help companies create their own logo dials for their own companies. Not much value to this, especially since the dial has been refinished to add their own logo, but cool to see. There's miscellaneous pins, parts, bezels. There's even some gold bezels in here for Datejust. There are these cool Rolex letters in gold as well. Without going through every single little tin in here, there's some more ladies' Datejust dials and stuff like that. Ladies' Prez, some old Rolex leather straps, original with original buckles. Lots and lots of goodies. There's some very useful bracelet pins, case pins, hands, ladies' hands. I would say here's a bracelet that needs in need of repair. A bunch of extra dials, mostly ladies' stuff. I would say the value of all of these ladies' dials and spare pins and stuff like that is around $1,500 for everything. They don't command as much on the secondary market because not as many people need them, but still very cool to have and see. So here, we'll leave this here for now, and we'll move right along. These are pieces of watch displays, which I think we moved over here. Ooh! Okay, moving right along. Let's go straight over to the bracelets that I just pulled out. These bracelets are 93150 and 93150 folded link bracelets. Once repaired and in good condition, the 9315 bracelet current market value is around $1,500 to $2,000. The 93150 is worth around $1,500, I would say. And here's an extra 93150. Again, so once these are restored and I spend a few $100 making them all tight and complete, we'll probably have around $4,000 to $5,000 in bracelets alone. Another cool thing that I saw right off the bat, which you just don't see, are these two Rolex bracelet sizing kits, which have extra links, which again, these are things that were never sold to the public. You would go into your Rolex A.D, say, hey, I need a new link or I need help sizing a band, and they would pull these out and do their best to assist you. So in the stainless steel and two-tone one, we see a bunch of spare links, spare parts, spare pins, spare tubes. There's a chart here as well, which is very cool to see how they did it back in the day. We'll put a rough value of about $1,000 on everything. And the case itself, to a collector of cool Rolex ephemera, is probably worth, $500 to $1,000 in and of itself. Same thing with the gold one. Probably the value is not as much as more, not that much more, because there's only a few solid gold links and a solid gold buckle. So we'll say the same thing, around $1,000 to $2,000 for everything here. We have some Rolex service pouches, which are cool for traveling, but I have probably 3 dozen of these lying around my office, which I get from whenever I receive a package of a watch and people send them in these. There's not much value to them, maybe $5 each kind of thing. These were styrofoam from the Rolex service division. They would send the watches back in a paper box, and this would be inside with the Rolex position right here for security, and so that wouldn't bounce around too much. So let's say, I don't know, $10 each kind of thing. These were super cool, and I actually got a bunch of messages on Instagram about these. These were Rolex brand new gloves that were used, obviously, by the employees when they showed watches to people. I have a few that were used, actually, that I put on, but these are brand new in the packaging. You can't get these. I don't even know how old these are, but I would assume probably from the 90s. I don't know, I would guess around $200 to $300 each for somebody who just really wants to have that new in-box pair of white gloves. Moving along, we have more parts. We have a bunch of tags, a bunch of anchors, which are around $30 to $50 each, and some of them are actually the really early ones, so even a little bit more. We have probably about a dozen of those, and I don't know, 100 tags, which are around $5 to $10 each. A bunch of these as well, which are great for cleaning your watch. So I got really excited. I didn't look through a lot of this stuff before making this video. I did look through this, got very, very excited because it says Rolex warranties. So you figure there's some warranties in here. Now this box, I've never even seen this box. This must have been a box that the ADs or official dealers use to store their clients' warranties, which is evidenced by the fact that you open this up and there are a bunch of warranty papers in here. So I would say the box alone to a collector is probably worth $1,500 to $3,000 just because it's something that you can't literally buy. The warranties inside, unfortunately, are all filled out. Mr. F.H. Straub Inc. with all of the serial numbers all filled in. So this doesn't really have a lot of value, unfortunately, because they are used. If they were blank, you could sell them to collectors to use as papers for their set, although they wouldn't be filled out. It's still better than having nothing. Because these are filled out, I know there is an online resource or website that somebody built to try to help people locate their lost papers, and I'll find out and see if that's still active. But if not, these are unfortunately going to need to go into the trash so as to avoid anybody, unscrupulously trying to re-engrave a serial number to match a watch, or match the papers rather. So most likely these will be trashed, but I will pull out first all of the booklets and wallets that were used in them, which have a value of about $100 each. Again, stuff that you could add to your collection or your full set to make your set more complete. So disappointing that they weren't blank papers, but still very cool to have this Rolex warranty box. Some of them even have, from the Sea Dweller, you know, the extra diver's extension and pin. Moving along, let's move to the middle of the pile real quick. Let's dance around. Oh, I'm going to try to power through this, guys. I know there's a lot of stuff here. We have more brochures and booklets. These are more recent stuff that you would have gotten, or another of Time and Men that we saw before. Here, this says 2012, 2013. So when you'd go into Rolex, and I see these still, the newer versions of these in Rolex A.Ds now, you go in and they're sitting on the glass display for clients to flip through while they're in the store. Since these are from 2012, 2013, maybe somebody wants to have it as a collector's item. Maybe they're worth about $100 each, kind of thing. More informational booklets. This one has oyster quartz, so from the 80s, of the Crown Collection watches that were their highest end or higher end watches from the era. Again, cool stuff that probably is worth about $100 each. These have like 90s watches, so you see two-tone sub, gold sub, steel, etc. It was already with the 14270. So yeah, late 80s, early 90s. We might even be able to get a date in the back here. 1992. Here's another cool advertising material, the World of Rolex. Look at the computers they used back then. Very cool stuff. Again, another $100 to $200 item for a collector. Exploration Perpetual Spirit. This looks like a magazine made by Rolex that goes through a lot of their stuff, a lot of their watches. Looks like up to 2011. So I would say, yeah, probably another $100 magazine for a collector who likes to have everything Rolex. Let's take a look over here real quick, and we have dealer stands and displays. Some of them marble, some of them, you know, just regular Tudor ones like this that are not marble, just metal. But these are really, really cool. They're heavy. They're complete. Obviously, you see I have plenty of these extra actual stand parts, the top part of the stand. And these are actually really, really cool because, again, you couldn't buy these. You saw these in the windowsill in the 90s, 2000s, whenever, and they would place the watches on them for you to see through the display. I would say these are probably worth $250 to $400 each. These green ones, maybe even a little bit more. These bigger ones are probably closer to the $1,000 mark each, which we have, looks like 3 of them. We have a few Tudors, which are probably a couple $100 each. These white, smaller ones are probably $200 to $300 each. Very, very cool. Probably won't be for sale. I'll probably use them to display next year at the antique show. And there's more of them in the box over there. So we got a bunch of those. And yeah, some more cool. Oh, here's another one that's a Cellini collection display. More in-store advertising stuff, this time for Baume & Mercier. So I guess they were an authorized dealer of Baume & Mercier. Not quite as cool, but still cool. Probably worth a few $100 here for all of this stuff from Baume & Mercier. Nothing extremely special. And last but not least, for me, the most exciting part of the whole lot, which I haven't even looked through in its entirety, but I did skim briefly, is all of the advertising and promotional material that was given to the stores by Rolex that has never seen the light of day. So for example, we have a price list from 1987. It's a suggested retail price list. So it's very interesting. We have one from 87, and I know there's another one in here somewhere from 1988. Here it is. So, for example, we can open up this brochure. Let's find something interesting. Here, Submariner Oyster Perpetual, date reference 16800A. The wholesale price of which they sold to their ADs was $1,030, and the suggested retail price was a whopping $1,750. I'm sure you guys know those watches are worth a hell of a lot more now, upwards of $10,000. Right underneath it, we have 18 karat yellow gold. The wholesale price was $7,550. The suggested retail price was $12,700, which was actually a lot of money. And now those watches are upwards of $30,000. Really interesting to see what the spread was between suggested retail price and the wholesale price of which the stores bought them at. I would be surprised if a lot has changed since then, but as we all know, the suggested retail price these days really doesn't mean much because the market is the market is so crazy as to the prices not really mattering anymore. Moving on, we have a ton of, this is just an empty binder from Rolex. This is very cool. We'll go to that next. We have more advertising material. So we have notice of discontinued Rolex advertising material, and they were probably supposed to be sending this stuff back, but they didn't. Co-op advertising portfolio of 2005 to 2006. So they would go through everything and obviously help their employees and stores sell their watches and explain to them how to order billboards, how to do this, how to do television and radio spot ads, really materials that would help their stores market more efficiently their products. We have promotional materials for the Cellini. We have some Tudor promotional materials, some IWC promotional materials. This AD, this is a letter from 1991 to Mr. Straub. We are pleased to send you IWC's 2 newest fall 1991 catalogs, etc., etc., etc. We have Rolex Co-op advertising portfolio supplements for 2009 with a bunch of random stuff, a bunch of different letters, ad copy stuff. Rolex Co-op advertising portfolio from a different year. Really interesting to take a dive back into the history and see how Rolex really marketed back in the day versus now, where they really don't have to do much marketing. We have a book from Motorsports America made by Rolex, Sports Car Series. There's another one. We have a television commercial booklet with a DVD in here, probably with different commercials that the ADs could use. We have some more promotional materials. We even have a letter of a Rolex Kentucky 3-day event. Why you should seek out this symbol of excellence, different advertising and stands for ADs to use. Actually, you know what? I don't even want to stand this up because it's unused. So it's very cool. And for me, the coolest stuff are these 2 or 3 items right here. Well, here's another catalog of parts. So here's spare parts catalog, Co-op portfolio from 2007. Putting a value on this stuff right here is very, very difficult because, again, this is stuff that was never sold before. It's very hard to find. It's only when somebody goes out of business and somebody like me is lucky enough to buy all this stuff up do they ever become available for sale. I'm going to hesitate on putting a price right now. I want to show you guys the rest. Here is a Co-op advertising portfolio, a set of DVDs from 2007, television, radio kit, and black and white newspaper ads. I don't know. I don't even know what's on these DVDs. I'm not sure anybody's seen them except for people who worked for Rolex. Probably to a collector, something like this, unopened, is worth several $1,000s. Exactly how much, I don't know. And for me, the coolest part of everything, just because I'm a nerd, I guess, is a Rolex 1995 Co-op advertising material for magazines, newspapers, television, yellow pages, mail stuffers, radio, billboard, and mall advertising. And when you open it up, there is a magazine. If I can get it out. Displaying what to order, how to order it, completely unused, giving a radio script. ABC Jewelers wants to talk to you for a minute about the world famous Rolex Oyster watch. Very, very cool stuff. There's also inside here a Rolex radio sampler cassette tape and VHS player. I'm probably going to take this to a VHS conversion store and ask them to very carefully convert it, because obviously these old VHS tapes are very, very tricky, and it's worth a lot of money, and if they screw it up, it's gone forever. Hopefully once I get it converted and before this is sold, I will have it up on the YouTube channel so we can all watch together what exactly a Rolex 1995-1996 co-op advertising television commercial sampler video looks like. On the back it says all sections are 30 seconds long. There's a men's golf one with a bunch of famous golfers, including Arnold Palmer, Phil Mickelson, etc. There's scuba diving, mountain climbing, sports car racing, tennis, ballet, dressage, equestrian, and then there's Tudor and Tudor Monarch. There's a lot of cool, obviously, commercials they made in the 90s that are on this video. So hopefully I'll be able to get it converted for everybody to see. Something like this, again, I've never seen it before. I really don't know, guys. I would say the value to somebody, since it's completely unused, is probably in the $5,000 to $10,000 range. I could be crazy. I could be low. I really don't know. But there's a lot of cool stuff here. I'm really glad Roman and I took the gamble. And even if we don't make a dime off of any of it, it'll be really cool office decoration and stuff that I could use, like boxes, and give out as gifts, like some of the, you know, in-store magazines and stuff like that. But yeah, this is what a, maybe not 300,000, but a big chunk of change mystery box looks like. Hopefully next year we get to buy another one, but feels unlikely because this stuff rarely comes around. Anyways, thanks for watching. Like, comment, subscribe, comment below what you think, what your favorite items are, what you think some of the stuff is worth. If you're interested in any of this stuff, because I've gotten so many messages asking when it will be for sale. After we're done cataloging it all, we'll either list it directly on the website, we'll create an auction, but stay tuned. Obviously, I'll keep everybody posted when this stuff is eventually for sale, if Rolex doesn't buy it all themselves. Guys, have a great day. Thanks for watching. Bye.